Welcome back to what I like to call thought hockey. This week, there was a few things that happened that seemed to get everybody a little bit upset. So I figured, why not come on here, make a little video, and discuss some of those things. EA Sports announced that Auston Matthews will be their cover athlete for NHL 22. Auston Matthews, the Richard Trophy winner, the high profile jet setter, best buds with Justin Bieber. What could be wrong with wanting to put him on the cover of a video game? Well, for starters, he was on the cover of the game 2 games ago. Matthews joins Jonathan Toews and Alex Ovechkin as the two other players to grace the cover for a second time. For Jonathan Toews, his 2 appearances on the cover came in Stanley Cup years, one of which he won the Conn Smythe. So clearly he's the choice. With Alexander Ovechkin, they put him on the cover of NHL 07, which was after his 102-point rookie season. No surprise there. He was also on last year's NHL 21 cover. And with everything that was going on with COVID, uncertainty about the season, they probably had a hard time figuring out just who to put on. And can't go wrong with Ovi. When Matthews was first featured on the cover of NHL 20, he was coming off a 37-goal, 73-point season. He's definitely a star on the rise. He's a recognizable American-born player who plays in a large market in Canada. There's not many reasons why you wouldn't want him on the cover of your video game. Leading up to this year's game, he torched Canadian division goalies 41 times in 52 games. That's over a 60-goal pace. Arguably among the best individual seasons of any player in the league this year. So why is everyone all up in arms about this? Well, Auston Matthews plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's the team with the largest fan base and the team with the greatest number of haters. And when you look at the way the Leafs have performed the last few years in the playoffs, especially this past season, losing after being up 3-1 to the Montreal Canadiens, Auston Matthews and the Toronto Maple Leafs have become sort of the whipping boys for the other fan bases in the league. It's easy to hate the Leafs. They haven't won the Stanley Cup in 54 years, but somehow their players and their team are constantly featured whenever anything happens in hockey. You can't avoid a rumor mill without hearing about some player who's either going to sign or get traded to the Maple Leafs, whether he does or he doesn't. So again, I think it really just comes down to people being sick of looking at Auston Matthews' face and people being sick of looking at players in Maple Leaf jerseys. Jonathan Toews had 2 great seasons, turned that into 2 covers. Alexander Ovechkin has been a star in the league since he entered, followed up the rookie year with a cover, and then got last year's as well. After numerous seasons, they probably could have had him on too. Maybe he should have already been on 3 or 4 covers. And now Matthews follows up his first cover by having arguably the best season ever for a Toronto Maple Leaf with his second. So the question I've been asking people is, who would you put on the cover? The first guy that comes to mind to me is Connor McDavid. He had an even better season than Auston Matthews, in my opinion. He had 105 points in 56 games. I don't think anyone went into this season thinking that anyone was going to record an over 100-point season, and he pulled it off. Now, again, this might be a little bit a case of player fatigue where we don't want to see Connor McDavid on the cover again 3 years after his first one. Also, again, the Oilers had a very disappointing playoff, and who knows how fans would have reacted to that as well. Some of you out there may have thought Kirill Kaprizov belonged on the cover. He had a great season, was far away the Rookie of the Year winner, but I don't think EA has put a rookie on the cover since Alexander Ovechkin way back when, and he had a mega rookie season. I think if it's up to me, I'm going to put Andrei Vasilevskiy on the cover. Conn Smythe, Stanley Cup winner, back-to-back Stanley Cup winner. And plus, if you're looking at goalies, we haven't seen one on the cover since MarcAndre in 2014. I'm not really sure how the process of picking the player to go on the cover worked the last 2 seasons, but I think in a way they've sort of made lazy picks. Nothing against Ovi. He's obviously the type of player you want to put on the cover of your video game. But when you look at the season Leon Draisaitl had, he won the Art Ross, he won the Hart, and he won the Lindsay. I'm really not sure why they didn't just go with him. I'm not sure if they didn't think he was well known enough because he's German, but come on, seriously? And when you're looking at Matthews, who was just on the cover 2 games ago, sure, he had a great season. But I think when you're looking at his playoff performance and overall perception, maybe they just should have passed. It's clear to the hockey gamers out there, the player who goes on the cover does mean something to them. And if EA is going to continue to do things like have major announcements at award ceremonies to announce who's going to be the player on their next cover, I think they're probably going to need to expect some criticism when they put a player on that many fans may not believe belongs there. Who do you think should have been on the cover? Let me know in the comments below. The NHL has decided to allow ads on jerseys for the 2022-23 season. This was something that generated a lot of heat, and I'm really not surprised. I think most people would consider NHL jerseys being sacred, and they don't want them touched. We have a tradition of having beautiful, colorful jerseys with great logos, and they're special to a lot of people. So when people get upset about stuff like this, I'm never surprised, and I completely understand. Do you want to see a bank logo in the corner of a Montreal Canadiens jersey? I don't think so. Do you want to see a car company advertising on the Bruins? Not really. Oh, maybe the Leafs could do their fans a favor and they could advertise for pain relief medication on their shirts. However, when you look at how much revenue the NHL lost because of COVID, they are going to need to find ways to make that back up. Now, I'm not saying we need to look like the Spengler Cup or anything here, but a 2x3-inch logo on the corner of a jersey is probably not going to do that much damage. For those fans who like to live on the slippery slope, I know what you're thinking. One day it's a little ad on the corner. The next day you're watching a game between Carlsberg and Ford. Yeah, I know, but I don't see that happening in the NHL, at least not for a very, very long time. I think the NHL knows that its fans really don't want to see blatant, large, gaudy ads on the jerseys, and I think they're going to keep things pretty minimal. We did see the introduction of helmet logos last year. The only criticism I would have on those is you had a lot of teams, for example, that might have worn a blue jersey but had a red logo placed on their helmet. And it kind of does look out of place. I've seen people comment on this and say things like, I can't even watch it anymore, or the helmet logos are distracting to me. People, I think what you really need to realize is logos have always been on helmets. They said CCM, Bauer, Warrior, True, and so on. We can even look farther back to the era where there were no ads on the boards. We see them every time we're watching an old game on NHL Network. But I must say, in an HD world, those white boards would look terrible. It actually is probably a good thing we have some color splashed all the way around. Whether or not we like it, ads on jerseys are coming, and I don't think they're going away once they're here. So we're probably just going to have to get used to it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. So MarcAndre Fleury got traded to the Chicago Blackhawks, and nobody told him. He had to find out on the internet. Look, I realize there's a lot of talk going around about this. MarcAndre Fleury, great player, great goalie, won the Vezina Trophy this year. But the fact remains the Vegas Golden Knights were trying to move him even last season, and it was going to happen. He's got 1 year left and a big cap hit, and Vegas needs cap space, and they already have another number one goalie in Robin Lehner on the team who's making $2 million a year less. It just made sense that they were going to trade him. I don't think MarcAndre Fleury thought he was ever going to play another game for the Vegas Golden Knights. There was a lot of drama surrounding MarcAndre Fleury ever since his agent posted that picture of a sword going through his back. This season was really no different. When they got to the playoffs, even after winning the first round, they started Robin Lehner in game 1 of round 2. Now, he got pumped that game, so it was no surprise that they went back to Fleury right away. But as things went on and when they were playing against Montreal, it was really confusing. Like, who are you going to play? Who's your guy? Who are you sticking with? And why aren't you just playing the best goalie in the league? I get it. MarcAndre Fleury is a fan favorite everywhere he's played. And even since going to Vegas, he's sort of become one of those happiness ambassador players where You just sort of see him as a guy who enjoys life and enjoys the game, and that just makes you want to cheer for him. This is kind of the same thing that happened with Alexander Ovechkin when they won their Stanley Cup. Everyone was an Ovi fan. No one out there was really complaining that he had won his Stanley Cup and he was sort of getting the recognition he deserved on that level. It's really hard not to cheer for the guy. Now, again, looking at it in the other direction when it comes to Fleury, for all the reasons he was likely going to be traded, no one should have been surprised. Then when they finally did move Fleury, he wasn't notified, and fans really seemed to get upset about that. I don't blame them necessarily. Again, all the reasons I just mentioned. Fan favorite, great player, still at the top of his game, and that original face of the franchise for the Golden Knights. They probably should have reached out and said, hey, the trade's going down. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. Now, whether that was miscommunication between the team and the agent, team and the player, maybe someone leaked it on the Chicago end, and that's how it got out first. It's really difficult to say. I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights staff was in a back room somewhere twirling their mustaches, coming up with ways to upset MarcAndre Fleury. This is a player who had a minor no trade clause, so he could have had Chicago on his no trade list. And if they were on his list, he would have had to waive, so he would have known that a trade was likely. Am I just that guy who always has to take the middle ground, and no matter what side has a strong argument, I'm always trying to pull them back? Am I just way off in this one? I don't mind being a pinata in the comment section, so go ahead, take out your broom handle and give me a whack. That's all for now. We'll see you next time on Thought Hockey.